Hey yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal News and Reviews, and it's time to look at this week's news in metal. So to kick off the video, we usually talk about new releases, but there was no new releases this week. There was just really nothing worth checking out as far as we were concerned, so we got nothing to report there. Sadly, we do have a death to report. Frank Beard, drummer of ZZ Top, passed away at the age of 77, so rest in peace, Frank Beard. ZZ Top was a very influential band for a lot of metal bands. You know, they've been around for a long time. So
just the metal is a genre.
Metal is a genre, yeah.
Big influence.
Yeah, exactly. So, sad news there. He will be missed. On to the first news story of the day. We have presented by Metal Injection. Metalcore band Counterparts, Canadian band. They are doing something pretty cool. So they have this thing planned for their fans of their hometown in Hamilton, Ontario. On September 5th, they have a show at the Music Hall, which is part of the 905 celebration, an annual celebration. Counterparts is headlining a show with support from I Promise the World, Balmora, and A Morning Star. But the night before the show, the band is going to be hosting an event at a local trading card shop called Paradox TCG. And this is an event where fans and enthusiasts can play Magic the Gathering with the band.
Sick.
So that's pretty cool. It's a $10 entry fee. That $10 gets you a Hobbit pack of Magic cards, a drink, and a set of 7 exclusive Counterparts branded Magic cards. And you get to play with all 4 members of the band and just have a good time with the band the night before the show. I thought that was rad. Like, I've never heard of a band doing anything like that before.
For $10 too.
The lineup is gonna be huge.
Oh yeah, no, that's that.
The lineup's gonna be huge, and it's a hometown show, so it's, you know, the hometown boys are always gonna sell out your hometown, you know, stuff. So the lineup's gonna be huge. I don't think everybody's gonna get in.
Yeah, I don't know, like especially for it being $10, everyone's jumping in there. The entirety of Hamilton's just gonna be.
Now I've never played Magic before, but I'm curious now, like how long does a game of Magic take to play? I thought it took like hours and hours and hours to play a game.
I don't think Magic's that long. I haven't played it myself either, but I think it might depend on the format, depending on what people are running.
I thought it was similar to like D&D.
No. Well, I mean, it's a TCG. Then you'll like Yu-Gi-Oh, like Pokemon, like Grand.
I don't play any of this, so I don't know.
Well,
basically, if your card wins, you win. It's like card versus card.
Kind of.
But there's a little bit more nuanced than that.
Yeah, it
I
can
kind of
depend
get
on the TCG, but I think that's an amazing thing. Not only to connect with fans, but like in that kind of way. Especially like, yeah, come play Magic with us. But on top of that, they have their own special cards. Magic the Gathering over the past few years have been going crazy with these collaborations. I'm sure you've probably heard.
I've seen a few here and there, but I don't think I've seen any band-related ones though.
Not off the top of my head, but the fact that like we got a Counterparts set of Magic cards.
Yeah,
like,
and I mean
crazy.
that's exclusive to people that join this too. So it's not, I don't think you could just go and buy these cards either.
Yeah, that's insane.
So that's a pretty cool collectible item there, especially if you're a fan of the band.
Yeah,
really cool stuff.
That is really awesome. So moving on, also from Metal Injection, let's talk about Abbath. Abbath.
What about it? What did you do?
Unfortunately, it's not positive news. This happened at the Finnish. Apologies. Sorry, Helveti Festival. Okay. I don't think I did too bad there. Let me know in the comments. But Abbath, he came out on stage, you know, for the set without corpse paint, without the gear, like without anything. And, you know, they started the first song. He just kind of threw his guitar and left. And just kind of just dipped.
Just quit.
Basically. And, you know, the drummer afterwards, he apologized to the crowd. He's like, yeah, you know, he's having some health issues. The show can't continue. Previously, Abbath has had, like, problems like this. He issued a statement, like, years ago that he was having a battle versus addiction. That was years ago, so I don't know if this is related to that or if it's something else. But if he's going to come out without anything, like, ready, basically, and just kind of just dip, like...
It just doesn't make sense. It's like, I'm thinking of the reason that could have happened, and all I can think of is that somebody put laxatives in his food. And like, he was spending too much time in the toilet, didn't have time to do his makeup, he gets out on stage, oh shit, I gotta take a shit, and he drops his guitar and runs away. Like, I don't know, like, who would do that? Like, at the end of the day, if you're not gonna do it, just don't go out there. Like, you're almost better off just not going out. The optics of you going out there, playing half a song or whatever it was, and then leaving, I think that looks worse than not showing up at all.
Yeah, and the rest of the band was ready too. So I feel like they're like, okay, he might be fine. All right, let's do it. And then they're like, oh, okay.
Well, as
So
soon as they see him come out without the corpse paint on, I think that's their first clue that this is not going to go well.
Yeah, and then as soon as it happened, the drummer basically knew it, like, okay, yeah, sorry guys, you know, we've been dealing with issues, we're professionals about this, you know. So that really sucks on all fronts. I hope that whatever is happening, like, that can improve for Abbath, whether that's related to addiction or something completely different.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it just sucks overall. But I will also say though, on Abbath's part, like, even though he's, no pun intended, kind of an immortal in the black metal sphere,
Yeah.
like such a prominent, well-known figure, it's just so unprofessional of him to do that.
Yeah.
Like, that is shitty, and I don't like that. You know,
it is unprofessional, but you have to also, like, if it's for his mental health or his health overall, like, you can't really fault him for it.
Yeah,
that's why I'm
that's
saying,
true.
like, just don't go out in the first place.
Exactly.
That's kind of where that comes from. But, like, yeah, it's unprofessional. It's not a good look. It's not good optics. But he's got to take care of himself.
Yeah.
Right? If he's really struggling with something, he's not going to stay out there and struggle through this set.
And I hope that something like this will at least inspire him to really focus on, you know, improving whatever it might be.
Yeah, bettering himself, fixing whatever issue that might be causing this.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's next?
So moving on, let's talk about a story from Consequence of Sound. This is about Jay Weinberg. Recently in an interview with the Loyal to the Craft podcast, he was talking about how for a while, and there's a bit of vagueness in here, but it's going to be very obvious what this is about. For a while, he was not legally allowed to work with other people musically and on different musical projects.
Yeah.
Slipknot was not mentioned, but it is very obviously implied that it was during his tenure with Slipknot that he was unable to do these things.
That's
And
what contracts do.
I do think, though, that it's oddly convenient that this information and this interview happened right after the Sid stuff.
Yeah, the timing's peculiar on
A
that for
little
sure.
peculiar. But the thing is, you say that, you know, that is what contracts are, and perhaps. However, at the same time, I disagree, because I really doubt that it's a contractual thing, not only because this is, to me it kind of reads like a one-to-one of what James Hetfield did, you know, towards Jason when he was in Metallica, when, you know, he was trying to do Echo Brain as a project, you know, that's all well documented. But consider, in the time that Jay Weinberg's been in this band, what have other Slipknot members done? Corey Taylor released, I want to say, 2 solo albums, a Stone Sour album. He was on a Tech Nine song. He was on a Korn song. He's done all these things. Oh, but Jay Weinberg can't.
So what you're describing is hypocrisy. That's what that is. But it doesn't mean that they didn't have it laid out in the contract that Jay Weinberg is a dedicated Slipknot member and that he has no right to perform with other bands or write other music, and Jay Weinberg signed that contract willingly. So that's the problem. So if you have a problem, if you want to be creative in other outlets, then you put that in your contract clauses. Corey could have that in his contract clauses where he's able to work with other artists, right? They each have individual contracts. It's not a blanket contract for everybody. And that's why it helps to have a good lawyer. It helps to read the fine print. It helps to read the contract before you sign them. Otherwise, you get caught in this hot water, in these sticky situations where you're like, shit, I can't do this. I didn't know that. And they're like, well, you signed it.
That is fair, because he does say legally. Like, that term was used, so it's not just like the band was telling him you can't do things.
They weren't just bullying him, yeah.
Yeah, that is true. I do think it's absolutely shitty to do that, especially because multiple other members of Slipknot have done multiple other projects over the entire existence of the band.
Yeah.
You know, Corey joined Slipknot, but still was doing Stone Sour. Like, he was in Stone Sour first.
Exactly.
That's his band.
Yeah.
You know, look at Joey. Did all this stuff with Murder Dolls pretty early on, right?
Yeah.
Like, in the band's, like, you know, initial kind of explosion, like Iowa around era is when Murder Dolls was really popping up. Around there. But in this case, I just find it strange that they would kind of tie him into that. Whereas with Metallica's case, it was more so like they were just being shitty to each other. I don't think
It's not that strange. So let's say Jay Weinberg, and this actually is happening right now. So let's say, because Jay Weinberg's in Fuming Mouth right now.
Yes.
And one of the only reasons we know of Fuming Mouth and are listening to Fuming Mouth is because Jay Weinberg's in the band that we know from Slipknot. So imagine you're in Slipknot and your band member goes and starts another band, and now that band's becoming popular because of your popularity. It's an issue where, and this just ultimately sounds like greed, but a band doesn't want somebody else prospering off of their name without them getting a cut of it. And that's ultimately what it boils down to. So Corey Taylor was already in Stone Sour. These like Sid was already a DJ beforehand. He was already doing his stuff. They were already kind of doing their own side stuff already. And there's like contracts are very weird. They can be very nuanced in particular. But that's basically what it boils down to, in my opinion, is that, hey, you're going to go start this other band or do this other project, and now they're going to get famous because you're associated with us, right? So that's where that contractual kind of limit happens. And it's shitty, but that's where it comes from.
As creatives, it's a shitty mentality to have. That's so egocentric to do that.
It is, and it's selfish and it's greedy. But then, like, let's say Jay Weinberg's second band pops off, and they start selling out stadiums and shit like that. Like, I don't know, man. There's when it comes to businesses and intellectual properties and things like that, people are very, very protective of their ideas, their identities, their foundation. To where other people start capitalizing off of it. People sue people all the time because, oh, your riff sounded like my riff, I'm going to sue you. So, one of the most famous ones is Ice Ice Baby, and being sued by Queen for what was it, Under Pressure.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, you stole our riff, you blew up because of our riff, we want money for that now. And then they proved in court that it wasn't similar enough, so they actually lost the suit. But that's all it takes. If somebody's getting famous and rich off of something you created, then you feel entitled to that richness.
But that's more so from an actual, like, song standpoint. This is more so like, oh, you're in that other band and you're getting popular. No, come back to me. You know what I mean? You're not allowed to be more popular than us, even though we're one of the biggest bands in the world. So I highly doubt that anything would... I highly doubt that a member like that would do another project and have it get bigger than Slipknot. That's a tall ask.
I doubt it too, but the reason why these things are in the contract is just to cover their ass. Just to cover their ass. I don't agree with it, I don't like it, but that's why you gotta read the fine print. If you don't like what you're signing, negotiate it. Just say, hey, I have a patent, because I saw in the article that I saw, Jay had a guitar. And he was playing guitar. I'm thinking, well, maybe he's like similar to Joey. He's a drummer in one band, guitar player in another band.
Yeah.
Weird how that works, but I thought maybe he could have it in his contract. Like, hey, I don't want to be a drummer in another band. Let me go play guitar. Let me sing somewhere else, right? In another band. And they might have said, yeah, okay, that's fine, because it's not the same thing. Like, the transition's a little different. It's a little bit different of a, I don't know, whatever. But it's about the contracts, man. If you don't like it, don't sign it. And I don't agree with signing it and then complaining about it later. That's where my kind of issue with this whole thing comes in. Right? You can't sign it, get rich from the band, get famous from the band, enjoy all the luxuries of the band, and then yes, you leave on bad terms or whatever, and then start complaining about it afterwards. Sign the contract, man.
Well, what else can you say?
Let's move on to the next story.
So, up next, let's once again talk about a story from Metal Injection. This is over a band called Demon Hunter. They've been around for a while. Since 2000, they've had 12 albums. Like, this is a band that's, they're not like new, but they are suing Netflix over infringing on a trademark with K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah.
Now, the main claim from them is that there's a false designation of origin and an unfair competition on top of overlap if K-pop Demon Hunters is going to do a tour, because that show mega blew up.
Yeah.
Confusion of, like, is it Demon Hunter or K-pop Demon Hunters? And as reported by Blabbermouth, Netflix kind of clapped back saying, like, all of this is without merit. This is basically nonsense. I kind of agree. This is basically nonsense. It seems like part of this was kind of inspired by something that happened in February where someone requested a $500 ticket refund from a Demon Hunter show because they thought it was K-pop Demon Hunters. And it's like, I understand the confusion of, like, Demon Hunter, K-pop Demon Hunter, but at the same time, they do not look anything alike. If you look up, one of them is K-pop, one of them is not. But if you just Google Demon Hunter, I doubt the band would come up because this thing blew up and is more popular. But that is, and Demon Hunter did trademark Demon Hunter.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, you can't, that's such a general kind of phrase thing that you can't be surprised that other people are going to use aspects of that.
Yeah, but you got to change it a bit. So look at remember Ghost BC?
Yeah, because copyright.
Yeah. So that's an example of, you want to call yourself something, but somebody else has the same name. Even like going back, like Black Sabbath used to be called Earth, but there was another band called Earth, so they're like, shit, we gotta change our name. And then they changed it to Black Sabbath, which was one of the best moves they ever did.
Probably, yeah, good move there.
Good move there. But yeah, so you can't have the same name as somebody else because it confuses people and it draws these weird situations where somebody buys a ticket for, what would you say, $500?
Yeah.
That's not cheap.
That's not.
That's not cheap. They
That's not
they think they're buying one thing, and then they realize, oh, that's not what I wanted, and then they get a refund, and the band's like, what the fuck? Like, that was money in our pocket. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so I get it, but
I don't know. I just think, to me, how do you make that mistake? You look at your ticket, you're gonna see like these, you know, whatever tough looking metal dudes. You're not gonna see the animated. You know what I mean? Like, how do you make that mistake and not
sometimes
see
you're not
K-pop?
sometimes you're not always seeing a picture. Sometimes you just see Demon Hunter concert and you go, oh shit, my kid would love that or something. Like, you know, there's a lot of ways that mistake can happen. The names are the same at the end of the day. Just because it doesn't say K-pop in front of it, maybe, you know. And another thing is, these people don't know that metal band exists. They have no idea.
Yeah, how
of the metal band?
They probably had no idea. So how are they supposed to know?
Yeah, so they see Demon Hunters and they think automatically it's K-pop Demon Hunters. This is where their mind goes.
I mean, yeah, and that show just happened to blow up. Like, it just happens, right?
Yeah.
You know, so if you're this band, then it's like, well, shit. But at the same time, it's like, did they really steal our copyright or trademark?
So was there a resolution on this or not? Or is this?
I believe it's currently ongoing.
It's
Like, it's current. It's still going right now.
Okay.
The most recent thing I read about it is that Netflix has basically responded saying this is all without merit. That the band claims that they are jealously guarding and enforcing their own intellectual property rights while willfully disregarding the rights of others in pursuit of profits.
Yeah.
So it's basically their ways of saying, like, you guys are basically jealous, you're trying to defend something, we're pretty separate, it just happens to be similar names, but like,
Yeah.
you know,
I'd be interested to see how that plays out if it ends up going to court with litigation and things like that. Because, you know, I think it's one of the situations can go either way. Netflix is a big company. They have
that's the hard part.
Exactly. They could win this easily. I think.
Like, I wouldn't rule out a Demon Hunter win in this case if it were to go to court, but I think it would be difficult for them because Netflix is just a monster.
I think also because it's specifically called K-pop Demon Hunters. Like, the whole name is different.
Yeah.
And you can't just take two words from the name and say that that's, you know, yours.
Exactly. It's not just Demon Hunter. They got K-pop in front of it, and it's even a plural of hunters.
Yeah.
So it's like,
It's different enough.
I agree.
Yeah. So the confusion by that one fan, unless, you know what, if it was droves of fans making this mistake, I think a court, a jury, a judge, whoever, might have a little bit more sympathy for the band and say, like, look, obviously people are making this mistake, but if it's one person that made the mistake, they're gonna go, we're not gonna, you know, make a big decision there on one person's
one
error.
person messed up.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was more. I just know of only the one.
Yeah.
But I doubt. I feel like if it was more, I would have read. You know what I mean?
They would have reported.
They would have
yeah.
reported where it's like, oh, they lost all this money, a whole show stopped, like that.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the, I guess, last story we're going to talk about today. This is, a lot of people consider good news. I think it's pretty exciting news, as reported by Metal Injection. This is from the Osborne's podcast. Sharon Osbourne's confirmed that Ozzfest is coming back in 2027, which is very exciting news. Ozzfest hasn't been around for a long time, and it was huge back in the day. It's set to take place at the Villa Park in Birmingham, England. It's only going to be a one-day event, reported by, that's Jack Osborne confirmed that on Blabbermouth on an interview. One-day event, and Sharon also mentioned that they do hope to bring it to the States as well. And she's looking for suggestions on which cities to hold it in. I say cities plural, not that it's going to be multiple cities, it might only be one, if it even happens at all. But at this point, they're just trying to iron out the fine details like date, headliners, and in traditional Ozzfest fashion, they're looking for a lot of young and upcoming bands to fill the bill, which I think is really cool because that's kind of how Ozzfest got its legs, was, you know, putting a bunch of young bands on the bill and letting them get their name out there. And I think this is cool. Now, I don't live in England, so unfortunately, if it's in England, I won't be going. And even if it's in the States, I won't be going. So unfortunately, unless it's in Toronto or somewhere close, we probably won't be attending it.
That would be killer.
But I think for an event like this, it would be worth streaming. And I hope they consider something like that. Especially if it's a one-day event, I think that would be pretty cool to have it streamed live. Even if it costs $10 or whatever to stream it, I mean, I'd be willing to fork up that money to watch Ozzfest.
I think even if it wasn't streamed, like, record it
Yeah.
Documented, like plenty of Ozzfest, you know, have been documented. Like that's not too much of an issue.
You see a lot of footage from like Bloodstock and those kind of Whack-In and those types of big festivals, which is cool. I wouldn't mind that, but I took the live stream. I think would be like chef's kiss.
That would be really cool because it really gives you the experience of being there and just witnessing the festival as it is, rather than being like, I'm gonna watch these guys set from Ozzfest.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it would be also a good way for them to kind of gauge where their biggest fan bases are, and that might help them plan out where to maybe have it next. If they want to do an Ozzfest in 2028, they can say, well, shit, this many people watched it in Texas, and you know, it was a huge amount. Let's host it in Texas next year, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Or wherever. Just throwing that out there as a stupid example, but
I do think like I don't know what city would be the best if you were to do it in the U.S., but I do think that would be a success. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a risk by any means. If there was an
No.
Ozzfest on North American soil, people are gonna go. Like absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and there's probably plenty of places that would make sense. Whether you want to gauge that on this is a huge city that, you know, or this place, like if you were to do it in, let's say, somewhere in California,
that makes the most sense to me.
in terms of like if you wanted to be relevant in terms of like history of metal, California's a big place.
Yeah.
Even Florida maybe,
Yeah, for sure.
like that one as well. But I think, you know, do you want to weigh that, or do you want to weigh like have this be, you know, I don't know what was any stadium in the U.S. basically. They're all fitted to be like super huge, like Super Bowl level things, right? So
yeah.
I think any of those could really handle. Have it at the new Highmark Stadium so that we might be able to go, because that's Buffalo.
Yeah, exactly.
Do that.
But I just think it's exciting news all around. And you know what? My mind's been kind of going about who could headline this show. And I know a couple names have been thrown out. Judas Priest has been thrown out there as a headliner, which I think that would make a lot of sense.
That would make a lot of sense.
They're a huge band. They've been close to Black Sabbath for decades. That is kind of the very fitting kind of answer. You got Iron Maiden being thrown out there. Then you got names like Rob Zombie, Slipknot, Marilyn Manson, these kind of festival headliners, Common, you know, Korn.
Yeah.
You know, it really doesn't matter. I think I think it's the camaraderie, the community of it. You know, just the closeness of just metal coming together. That's the whole purpose, in my opinion. Whoever headlines it, cool, whatever. But it's about all these bands getting together and just putting on a great metal show.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it probably was difficult to make the decision to bring it back, considering this is the first Ozzfest without Oz.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of, like, when that decision's made, and I see that decision's made, I can very easily tell that it's to preserve the legacy of him and of what he created by, you know, Ozzfest being a thing.
Yeah.
You know, I like that because, you know, like you said, a big part of the foundation is to give legs to, you know, up and coming bands.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm sure that is something Ozzy would probably, I never knew him, but I would say that Ozzy probably, I'm guessing
he'd be
say,
fine with this.
Yeah, like keep it going for all these bands for the spirit of metal.
Yeah, I agree.
That makes sense.
I definitely think he would too. And you know, there was talk also about bringing Ozzy back through things like holograms, AI, these types of things, which might ruffle some feathers maybe, but I honestly don't think that's that bad, especially if it's his family that's doing it, carrying on his legacy and doing that sort of thing.
We've seen the hologram stuff a little bit here and there. I don't think I hear about it that much in general, though, which is kind of odd, because you'd think it would be the future of preserving people forever, like MJ, and, you know, I know Kiss wanted to do that, I think they did do a show, and now without one of the, you know, biggest members of that band, maybe that's something they might consider doing more. I don't know.
You know, one thing I thought a cool idea would be for a festival like Ozzfest is every band has to play one Black Sabbath or Ozzy Osbourne cover in their set.
That'd be cool. That's kind of like what they did last year at Back to the Beginning,
Similar,
where a bunch of bands came out and they did all those things, including their. They basically did that,
Pretty much, yeah.
Something like that. Which, hey, I think that's a cool thing to do if you want to do that for Oz. Like, I'm on board.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, we want to know your thoughts about Ozzfest, this announcement, and who you guys think might headline the show. And I also want to know, have you guys ever been to Ozzfest? Because we didn't get a chance to go back when it was in our town, 20-something years ago. Just wasn't in the cards back then for us, so we didn't get a chance to go. We've never gone, and that sucks. But for any of you that haven't been to Ozzfest, tell about your experiences, what bands you've seen. Do you still like those bands? let us know in the comments below. But that's it for this video. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Like this video if you liked it. I'm by yourself.
I'm TD Fish.
We'll see you guys in the next one. Keep those heads back.